Welcome to SVG-TV News for Friday, February 26, 2021. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. Executive members of the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Teachers Union at a news conference today highlighted their continued commitment to members as they discussed several issues affecting teachers, which they say they intend to tackle. President Oswald Robinson said the union is also looking to create a disaster management program intended to assist teachers living in the danger zones of the La Soufrière volcano in the event of an explosive eruption.
As a union, we have to be proactive. We never know when the volcano will erupt. So we have put a plan in place, committees in place, and the office will coordinate a lot of the activities that would relate to this disaster response by the teachers union. And it would mainly, in this fourth stage, cater for our members who are in the orange zone in the event that they have to evacuate. So that is one of the programs that we are pushing currently. We are in the process of allocating the number of members in the orange zone, and a family package is what we are thinking about putting together with some of the basic necessities which people need when they would have evacuated.
Industrial Relation and Research Officer of the SVGTU, Andrew John, shared an update on the union's fight for what they deem as the appropriate appointment of graduate teachers. John said while the union is pleased with the recent increase in appointments, some teachers were placed in grades affecting their earnings and benefits. He said though several discussions were held with the authorities on the matter, nothing has been done to correct the issue, and the union is ready to take the matter to court.
You know, it was done in a haphazard manner, the appointments, and it's creating a lot of confusion. I'm telling you, there is not a day that has been passing where we're not getting complaints from teachers in relation to that vexing issue. So much so that we see nothing is being done, and we have put it to the lawyers, to our legal counsel, who has assured us that the best recourse now would be to take the matter to courts. So we're in the process of formalizing that so that we could have this issue addressed. That's an issue that is of serious concern to teachers, and we need to have it addressed. So we have been appealing to the Ministry of Education to correct it. We have been appealing to the authorities to have it corrected, and it is an issue that nothing is being done about.
Acting PRO Fiona Charles also touched on what she said is the lack of transparency being exhibited by the Ministry of Education, as she alleged that grade 6 teachers and students have been asked to return to their classroom without proper consultation with all stakeholders.
Teachers are getting information through virtual staff meetings or through text from their principals that, okay, this is the directive from the ministry, and then they're expected to return to school with this particular protocol or that particular protocol. And I know of several schools, even where I live and where certain ministers live in their constituencies, and these children are back out to schools. And when you ask teachers what are the protocols there, they may just have 15 children, and that's it. You don't know if the school was sanitized. And as a matter of fact, one of the serious issues that we had is you do not know whether or not these children are from homes of persons who are currently COVID positive. But you are asking these children who are not necessarily affected by COVID but are asymptomatic, to come into schools and have contact with teachers.
SVGTV News was unable to reach an education official to verify this claim by the SVGTU. However, what we do know is that on Monday, February 22nd, a number of Form 5 students across SVG returned to their classrooms to complete their school-based assessments. In a telephone interview with SVGTV News on Monday, Minister of Education Curtis King said given that the SBAs involve hands-on or practical work, after consultation, it was agreed that it will be better for the students to complete the SBAs in a physical classroom setting following strict health guidelines. As for the full reopening of school, which was closed since January, Minister King said they are monitoring the COVID-19 situation before taking a concrete decision. In other news, a seismologist will be taking over next week as the lead scientist monitoring La Soufrière volcano. Gas specialist Dr. Thomas Christopher, who has been leading the scientific team, told SVGTV News today via a telephone interview that he will remain on island but will focus more on the field work, while earthquake specialist Dr. Rod Stewart, who is already in the state, will be taking on the lead for the next 3 weeks. Dr. Christopher said that the earthquake specialist will boost the work being carried out at the Belmont Observatory, and he will also be conducting training with local seismologist technicians.
Set up the seismic monitoring system, the electronics, not the physical installations of the instruments, but the actual networking part of it. Set it up so there's like displays and stuff and processing happening at the observatory. And his job is to also train people from here. I think a few of the volunteers that are on board with us, how to do so, train them to become seismic technicians. So I think he's due to be here for 3 weeks. So while he's here, I've asked that he be the team lead, because that would free me up to do more field work. Yeah, more field work. Because I don't get enough field work done because I'm busy talking to people. Well, I'm not complaining, but
Dr. Christopher noted that the team from the UWI Seismic Research Center in Trinidad will be leaving next week as rotation of scientists monitoring La Soufrière continues. He said that another scientist from the Montserrat Volcano Observatory recently came in with instruments to further advance the measurement of gases from the volcano.
3 members of the team that arrived from Trinidad are going to leave on Monday, the 1st. At present, as I said, Rod Stewart came in from Montserrat, but also a student, a PhD student, Tivon Howe, also came down. She's actually my student. And what she brought with her was an instrument that could measure carbon dioxide from the soil. So we already started to do that, getting carbon dioxide measurements from the soil, because what we know is that when carbon dioxide is coming out from volcanoes, quite a bit of it actually comes through the ground and not just through the actual gas plume. So in order to get the budget, the actual total carbon dioxide budget, we need to account for what's coming out of the ground as well.
Dr. Christopher and his team are expected to visit the summit of the volcano this weekend for measurements. No new readings of the dome growth have been done due to bad weather conditions over the past few days.
Well, this morning. But we, because of the bad weather, there was no survey done. But what they did was retrieve that campaign GPS, which was left at Table Rock for a week. I've managed to finish processing the gas data from the 18th, and no significant change has occurred. The chemistry is still similar to what we saw on the 1st. We couldn't do any work today because of the rain, because it's sort of a dry weather technique. But the idea is to go around the flanks of the volcano. So we're going to do like the windward flanks as well, from Fancy down to the Rabaka, all up on the sides of the volcano, measuring soil fluxes. And we're going to do it on the leeward side as well, which we've already started on the leeward side, because we were doing measurements north of Walibu, up along towards the Larakai area. So hopefully we should be able to get a better handle on the carbon dioxide budget from this volcano.
Fire Chief with the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force, SOP Joel James, said 2020 was quite a challenging year for the fire department. In an interview with SVGTV News today, SOP James said that the year started off much better than last year, as only 7 fires have been reported thus far, while last year there were already 21 reported fires. SOP James said last year in total, officers responded to about 120 fires, which included 59 bushfires and 70 house fires.
Thus far. So 2021 starts out relatively quiet, and this is because we would have had some rains during the period of December into January, and some of which we would have had in February of this year. If we have to compare reported fires for 2020 with 2021, 2020, at this same period, we would have had 21 reported fires. So there is a huge reduction in 2021.
The fire chief commended his officers for their hard work in dealing with fires, especially those in the dry season. SOP James said with the dry weather already started, they have been receiving reports of persons burning garbage along the roadsides. He advised persons to desist from such action.
However, in the dry season, especially now, you would realize that we have been experiencing high winds, even if we are out of the hurricane season. So if you light fires, even if I had recommended the times when you should light these fires in the dry season, we will prefer that you refrain from burning these cabbage in your backyards and dry shops. I am asking you, I am appealing to you not to burn your garbage.
SOP James said the burning of coal pits in communities is another problem they are facing. The fire chief said this is not permitted, noting that persons can be charged for doing so.
I want to speak to persons in communities who would set coal pits from time to time. I want to let you know that you setting your coal pits in neighborhoods, it's not permitted. It used to be permitted, but it's not permitted any longer, because there are persons in your community who may be asthmatic. Even if it's not the smoke from these coal pits which would affect them, the aroma from the coal pit normally affect these persons.
SOP James said it is better for persons to report coal pits in communities before they start burning so that action can be taken swiftly.
My department responded to an area where a coal pit was set. And what I want you to do, the environs where these coal pits are being set, don't wait until the persons set the coal pits and light these coal pits to inform the fire department. Please call us before these coal pits are set and they are lighted. Call us before so that we can take action before.
In some COVID-related news, 4 new cases were reported on Thursday, February 25th by the National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO. NEMO said 3 of the cases were RT-PCR results from patients seen on Wednesday, February 24th, and 1 for Thursday, February 25th. A total of 209 samples were processed for February 24th, yielding a total of 5 positives and a calculated positivity rate of 2.4% for Wednesday, February 24th. 8 persons were cleared, bringing the number of total recoveries to 913. 609 cases remain active, and 8 persons with COVID-19 have died. 1,530 cases of COVID-19 have been reported in St. Vincent and the Grenadines since March 2020. The Rotary Club yesterday handed over 14,000 face masks to the Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment. The handing over of the masks came after a news conference hosted by the ministry to update the nation on the COVID-19 situation and the vaccination program. President of the Rotary Club, Annette Marks, said that the donation of the mask is one way in which the community-based organization is playing its part in the fight against the spread of the virus.
In total, we will be donating 20,000. We are a community-based organization, and we work with public and private, both public and private partners in assisting the community. We are very aware, and we also know that we need to do our part to fight this pandemic, making the public aware of how to wear masks, and that they need to wear their masks, and also that they need to be vaccinated. And today we are very happy to be able to hand these masks over to the Ministry of Health that are to go out to persons that are vulnerable, persons who are a little bit more unfortunate than we are, because we do take it for granted that persons can afford to buy masks. And while the Ministry of Health carry out their awareness campaign, we do hope that these masks will go a very long way.
Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Cuthbert Knights, thanked the Rotary Club for the masks, noting that they are an important element in SVG's fight against COVID-19.
We have had strong bonds of solidarity and friendship, and Dr. Chusha and his team have come to our rescue on several occasions, in the form of wheelchairs and others. But this gift of mask, I think, is a very special one, given the current situation that is facing us. Mask is something which are used up at a very rapid pace. And because they're used up so rapidly, it means that we have to be able to have them replaced. I want to express my sincerest thanks to you, the Rotary, Dr. Chusha and his team, and we really do look forward to our continued collaboration in this stead, and we can assure you that the mask will be put to the maximum use.
SVG, along with 4 other OECS member states, took a major step today in their transition from small island developing states to large ocean states. High-level policymakers and technical experts from Dominica, Grenada, St. Lucia, St. Kitts and Nevis, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines met virtually to review and validate coastal and marine spatial plans, CMSPS, for each member state. The process marks the culmination of a 2-year process which sought to engage key stakeholders. The draft CMSPS were presented for validation following a final round of consultations from October to November 2020 and high-level briefings in February 2021, transitioning from small island developing states to large ocean states through sustainable use of ocean resources for the benefit of all is a major goal for the OECS. To enable fulfillment of this goal, the development of coastal and marine spatial plans forms a major component of the Caribbean Regional Oceanscape. A Project CROP, which is currently being implemented by the OECS Commission on behalf of member states. In 2013, the OECS heads of government endorsed the Eastern Caribbean Regional Ocean Policy, ECROP, and its associated strategic action plan. to enable a blue economy approach in the OECS. The e-crop guides the future use of the region's marine waters and provides a basis for enhanced coordination and management of ocean resources within the Eastern Caribbean. The crop is designed to contribute to the implementation of the e-crop by strengthening capacity for ocean governance as well as coastal and marine spatial planning in participating countries. The OECS Secretariat said today's validation marks a critical stage in the region's transition to a blue economy. The Secretariat said these plans define an enabling framework that sets the stage for a blue growth investment and offer a 15-year time frame to support the transition towards a blue economy through sustainable and equitable use of coastal and marine space, protecting coastal and marine ecosystems, and managing land-water interactions. The Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries is embarking on a food market stabilization program which seeks to provide much-needed support to farmers of crops and livestock. According to Agriculture Minister Subota Caesar, under the program, farmers are given the opportunity to use 5 centers to obtain markets for their produce. He said the program came from the Love Box initiative, which started last year.
Central to this initiative is the operationalization of buying depots at Lanley Park, Lauders, Lacqua, Rillen Hill, and Rosebank. We in 2020 established a program by the central government to purchase commodities from farmers, dubbed the Love Box program. This came out of a need for the government to support farmers as it pertains to the provision of a market. And this came as a result of the fallout in markets owing to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Minister Caesar said that crops and livestock farmers desirous of taking part in the program can register their interest at the various centers to make use of the opportunity.
In 2021, what we have recognized is that there are several traders who have markets internationally, regionally, and also some local markets who have expressed a keen interest in purchasing commodities utilizing these facilities. Therefore, from Monday, March the 1st, an administrative structure will be placed at these facilities to capture the information from the farmers as to the commodities which are available for sale.
Minister Caesar singled out the Lauders Agro-Processing Center, which he said has thus far exported 3 containers of produce to the United States of America. And Minister of Transport Montgomery Daniel said they are currently monitoring omnibus operators who may be breaching the protocols set out for them under the public health measures announced 2 weeks ago, which require them to carry half passenger capacity and for everyone on board to wear a mask. On radio last evening, Minister Daniel said those who fail to comply with the regulations as announced by the Prime Minister on Wednesday will not be able to benefit from the government's $500 financial support, which will be provided for the next 2 months. Today, it was observed that traffic officers were out in their numbers checking on omnibuses at various points. Our news team understand that on the leeward end, some conductors were asking passengers to disembark at the Gun Hill bus stop as they became aware that traffic officers were at the next bus stop. Minister Daniel warns the omnibus operators that the protocols could be revised if they continue to defy the rules and regulations.
If they're found to be transporting more than the required number of persons they can lose that support, as well as if they withdraw their services for more than a day in any week, they would not have the support from the government in terms of the $500 assistance on a monthly basis. But we will continue to look and to review the situation overall so that we can implement protocols to the extent as the changes occur.
Minister Daniel said that they continue to ensure government buses are operational, noting that 11 of these buses have been on the roads transporting persons.
Manage the government-operated buses. As you know, the government operates a couple of school buses, and the figure that was given to me, the government itself is now operating approximately 12 buses on the road now. Of course, some are down and are at the garage at Annesville. But there are some 12 buses operating on various routes throughout St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But equally, the government would have hired buses as well to help in transporting school children. And the numbers we have before us at this point in time is approximately 24. So that the administration department is looking at better ways of managing these buses.